Do you have that one friend who seems to know an insufferable amount about a lot of random subjects? The person who chimes in with the odd and sometimes highly disturbing fun fact. Well, my name is Carly, and I am that friend. I often find myself wondering about topics that range from the history of certain holidays to what makes some wines expensive and some a little on the cheaper side. So I make use of that mini supercomputer I carry everywhere and just look it up. Lately, I have decided to share the random knowledge that I acquire with all of you lovely listeners. So welcome to I'm Already Looking It Up. Let's have a drink and learn a thing or two. Hello. You're listening to I'm Already Looking It Up, the podcast where I, your host, research a random topic and tell you, my lovely listeners, all about it. So without further ado, let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. Today, our topic is another very special episode topic that was requested by my husband for his birthday, and he wanted me to research and talk a bit about some mysterious monuments or things that have been built or seen in the world that are just kind of marveled at, that we don't and more like we don't really know how they were built or where they came from, but we, think of them as just something really cool to research. So that's what he wanted me to talk about for his birthday. So here we go. I have a list here. So of course, like the pyramids are going to be kind of in this a lot because they're some of the more mysterious structures, there we go, that I should say, that are around the world, and most people don't really understand how they were built. So the first one is going to be the Pyramid of Djoser in Egypt. It was built during the 3rd dynasty of ancient Egypt. The pyramid is the oldest structure of its kind, in the world. It's the original Egyptian pyramid that represented, a thorough advance in the possibilities of engineering and architecture. Within the pyramid, which is the resting place of the Pharaoh Djoser, which is, probably saying that wrong, very sorry, is an expansive system of passageways. You can still explore these today, some 4,000 years after it was originally constructed. What you see today, however, is a rejuvenation of the original. The pyramid lays ravaged by wind and time for centuries. So that's really cool, that you can actually put that on like my bucket list or something, because I would love to go explore those tunnels. That is neat. So our next one is Persepolis, Iran. Once the capital during the Achaemenid dynasty of Iran, once known as Persia, Persepolis is now what is left of the once thriving city. Persepolis thrived for centuries up until 330 BC, when Alexander the Great sacked the city. Today, the sprawling terrace complex tells the story of over 2,000 years old. Once home to the King of Kings, visitors can wander by a series of royal palaces that stood upon an elevated terrace. At its height, there was never the need for fortified walls, as 10,000 guards stood watch at any given time. That's neat, too. This might just be my bucket list of things I would like to go see. I think this is cool. I also, obviously have an interest in history in general, so it's neat to talk about these, and these are actually, a lot of these I've never heard of, so it's kind of fascinating. Alright, so the next one is Hvalsey, Greenland. Built around the turn of the 14th century, Hvalsey's ruins stand on the southern coast of Greenland. Centuries before Columbus made his famous journey west, Norse Vikings had completed a similar trip, building one of the original Christian churches on the North American continent. The church is at the center of the Norse movement that saw many migrate from Iceland to the fertile soils that existed steps from the stunning Greenlandic fjords. Hvalsey, however, shows the spread of Christianity beyond Europe and the Middle East to the New World. The church boasts walls as high as 6 meters and was a prominent gathering spot for the Norse people. That's pretty cool. Original, very first, most likely Christian church on North American soil. Pretty neat. I like that. I guess Greenland's not. Is Greenland North America? I feel stupid now. I feel like I should know that. Hold on, I'm gonna look this up. Is Greenland in North America? Although part of the North American continent, geopolitically, the island is part of Europe. Okay, so yes, but no. Well, yes, but actually no. Well, good to know. All right, so the next one is I'm going to say so many of these so badly, and I'm so sorry. The Derinkuyu underground city in Turkey. At its height, the Derinkuyu underground city in Turkey had a population in excess of 20,000 people. This thriving ancient subterranean city existed some 85 meters beneath the spectacular fairy chimneys of Cappadocia. Understandably hidden for centuries, Derinkuyu, once known as Elengubu, features 18 levels of tunnels that could hold a substantial number of people. It's the largest city of its kind and was in consistent use for thousands of years up until the 1920s. More spellbinding are the separate tunnels that have since been discovered. These link Derinkuyu to a number of smaller underground cities in the region. Alright, well that's pretty neat. Again, bucket list, I'd love to go see that. That'd be amazing. I love the idea of an underground city. I think that's so cool. I actually have this idea that I don't know if I want to do it as a YouTube thing or just for me. I play a lot of Planet Zoo, and I really have this idea where I want to make this huge zoo, or that's like an around the world zoo, including all the animals that you can possibly get. It's going to be massive, but everything is basically below ground. So you come in and you go into this tunnel system where you can see all the animals, and like anything that could be below ground you can build, like say you have some wolves, well you make their den kind of below ground so that you can see, and then you have like these decks that kind of go up above and around a lot of the exhibits so that you can see like the inside of them, but you can also see like the underground portion, which I think would be really cool. So I love an underground city. I think that is so neat. I also have this idea of each like nation or area of the zoo, because it'd be around the world, has its own little like facilities village where all of the like the vets, the staff, and all that convene for that one area, so that one area is kept running pretty smoothly. So I will have to try and see if I want to do that. I do kind of want to do it on a stream just because I think it would be fun, but I know it's going to take a long time to do. So, alright, so our next one is Hegra, Saudi Arabia. As the first UNESCO World Heritage Site in Saudi Arabia, Hegra Akakmada in Salah holds high esteem. The archaeological site is the largest of its kind and once belonged to the Nabatean Nabatean people outside of Petra. Like Petra, the civilization was once cut into rock, this time sandstone. Discoveries included well-preserved monuments and tombs that unveil an ancient society at its zenith. Hegra displays a range of architectural values etched deep in the sandstone, from the Phoenician to Hellenistic. In addition, the petroglyphs showcase a variety of languages, including Greek and Latin. Lots of ancient cities on this list. That is a lot more ancient cities than I would have thought there was in the world that were preserved enough to be considered these monumental sites. This is quickly becoming my bucket list. I would love to see these places. I think it would be really amazing. All right, so our next one, Newgrange, Ireland. According to Irish traditions, Newgrange is the home of the Dagda, a group of supernatural beings that once called ancient Ireland home. There is some truth to this, with Newgrange being linked to some of the country's earliest inhabitants. Yet, the true builders of the awe-inspiring structure, which is the home of a spectacular light show each December, remains unknown. What is for certain is that the tomb is so ancient that it predates the Egyptian pyramids by some 6 centuries. Newgrange, for over 5,000 years, is a long-lasting testament to the time's engineers and artists. That's so cool. So that's, let's see, supernatural beings. Doesn't say what it is exactly. It sounds like a city, but I'm not sure. And the photos are not showing on here, so, but that's neat too. I mean, I would love, again, bucket list. I would love to go see that. That's amazing. The next one is the Bantae Sarai in Cambodia. Dedicated to the Hindu god Shiva, Bantae Sarai is a 10th century temple not far from the famous Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Bantae Sarai is around 25 kilometers away from the main core of Angkor temples, and because of its diminutive size has created a fascination among archaeologists. Compared to other regional temples, Bantae Sarai was made much smaller, almost like a miniature version. Interestingly, it was the only major Angkor temple not to be commissioned by the reigning monarch. As legend goes, it was instead constructed by female artisans, with exquisite carvings being the proof. That's also pretty cool. Got some female power in there, making their own temple. It's little, just cute. That'd be cool. That would be cool. So our next one, where is the title? The Mohenjo-Daro in Pakistan, Daro. Constructed around 25,000 BC, Mohenjo-Daro was once the largest city in the historic Indus Valley. Once a major worldwide city, Mohenjo-Daro flourished until 1700 BC. The former metropolis remained undiscovered until the 1920s, more than 3,500 years later. Major excavation began in earnest, uncovering a marvelous Buddhist stupa, while a seemingly insignificant flint scraper gave researchers the idea of how old the city was. Impressively, Mohenjo? I don't know. I'm so sorry. Daro was designed with a grid layout, with public buildings such as public baths and assembly halls giving proof of a sophisticated society. So again, just kind of like an ancient city that, I mean, it's so interesting to think about this because I know in like popular culture and media and all that stuff, we kind of assume Egypt is like as far back as it goes, but we often forget that there are cultures and people who are much, much older than Egypt was. And it's just very interesting to see, like, the proof is here in these old, cities and ancient buildings and everything, that as interesting as Egypt was, it's definitely not the oldest to exist. Though it would be interesting to look into the idea of why we have this like disposition to think of Egypt as being ancient, but like the most ancient. So I would love to research that more and look into it. Okay, so Machu Picchu, Peru. This one's kind of a famous one. Set on a mountain ridge 2,430 meters above sea level, Machu Picchu is an iconic estate of the Incan Empire. The lost city of the Incas was built in the 15th century high above the Sacred Valley. Despite becoming such a famous destination, little is known about the founding years of the city. The Incas had no written language, with the city laying abandoned when discovered by the Western world in the 1800s. The layout, use, and the inhabitants of Machu Picchu are all educated guesses by archaeologists. Again, just like another ancient city. That's so neat. I love that. And so ancient that we don't even know what the use of the city was or why it was built there or anything. We'll really never know, honestly. And there's something kind of like infuriating but also beautiful about that it's just something that is mysterious. And the more we research it, of course, the more these, we can make these educated guesses, but we'll absolutely never know the full truth. And that's kind of cool in a way, and infuriating. Like I said, it's a little bit of both. The next one is Baalbek, Lebanon. It's likely that the city of Baalbek has been inhabited since 9000 BC. This impressive ancient city has seen it all, from the humble beginnings as an agricultural town to becoming one of the most important holy sites in the region. From an architectural standpoint, it was the Romans who created a lasting impact. They constructed the Temple of Bacchus and the Temple of Jupiter, which are both staggering temples and among the largest in the Roman Empire. The major mystery surrounds the creation and movement of the Baalbek stones, which are thousands of years old. So again, just another ancient city, this one inhabited by a couple of different cultures, it seems like, so really, really cool. I really want to see some old, like, Roman temples or Greek temples or something. I don't know why that's always kind of been a thing for me. Anytime someone is like, oh, where would you go if you could take like a vacation across seas? And I always say Greece, just because I want to see that history. And I was obsessed with ancient Greece as a kid, and when I did history as a major, I tried to find like any way I could write about it. I did. So I love it. So, all right. There is Palenque, Mexico. One of the most iconic Mayan sites, Palenque harbors some of Mexico's top archaeological treasures. I can talk. Once the home of a powerful city-state, Palenque lies in ruins, yet continues to be an amazing source in the past. While other Mayan sites may be larger or older, Palenque continues to intrigue visitors and researchers alike. The complex is as old as 800 years, but much of its known history is traced to the Classic period. The site features inventive architecture, a rather naturalistic sculpture, and, most important, incredibly detailed epigraphy? Yeah. I assume that means, like, well, So I don't know if hieroglyphs fall under that or iconography. I would say epigraphy, probably. I'm not sure. Nobody knows all the graphies or the ologies. Well, there is the podcast about ologies, but anyway, the next one is the Prambanan Temple in Indonesia, near Yogyakarta, Indonesia, in the 10th century. Prambanan Temple is a symbol of both grace and complexity, arguably the most striking Hindu temple in the country. The Prambanan Temple is an ode to 3 Hindu gods. The expansive, I keep saying expensive instead of expansive. The expansive complex features 3 main temples. The 2 smaller buildings are dedicated to Vishnu and the sustainer, and Brahma, the creator. But at its heart, it is the staggering Shiva temple, which stands at 47 meters tall, which I am assuming is pretty high in feet. It's a temple visible from a great distance, and one that was overtaken by nature after the fall of ancient Java before being rediscovered in the 18th century. Nice, neat. Again, ancient temple, would love to see it. It's very interesting how much of our history of the ancients is built around religion, and what we know, because religion is really kind of what dictated most people's lives. Even if it's not Christianity, even if it's, a polytheism, or, just even what you would call a pagan religion, a lot of the things that people did was because of religion, and what they believed in. So that's kind of fascinating. That's why, old temples and stuff are really, really cool. Alright, so the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor in China, sitting undiscovered until the 1970s, the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor is a still evolving archaeological site, not architectural. Yes, they're still building it. Qin was the first emperor to unite China around 200 BC. He's buried here alongside hundreds of terracotta warriors. So that's where the terracotta warriors are at, which is so neat. Each warrior is unique, standing as a picture of realism besides their horses, chariots, and chosen weapons. They are all found within a sprawling complex that has been designed to mimic the capital of Xinyan. To have stood the test of time and remained in such visible excellence is a testament both to the art and also the prestige and culture of the Qin dynasty. So yeah, terracotta warriors, very common kind of monument. I know they themselves are not the monument, but it's still interesting. I think the big mystery behind them is basically no one knows how they could have made that many and everything, or why they were made, or anything like that. So, pretty interesting. The next one is one of my personal favorites, the Mesa Verde cliff dwellings. Because I have actually been there, and they are really, really cool. So, for 6 centuries, the ancestral Pueblo people lived on the mesa tops in what is now Colorado. But around the 12th century, they created pueblos within the mesas and natural alcoves. They created a cliff-dwelling community with carved homes that varied from a single room to vast villages that featured 150 connected dwellings. All the while, the ancestral pueblos continued to farm above their homes. This community existed for around a century when the local population began moving south into what is known as Arizona and New Mexico. Yeah, I've been here. It was a really long time ago. My family used to live in Colorado when I was really young. We moved back to Kansas when I was about 5th grade. Yeah, 5th grade. So I was really young, but we've been here. It's really cool. I think it is what sparked my love of these sort of, built-in slash underground cities and villages, because it's so just like it's so cool to see the way that people have used the land over centuries to not disturb as much as they possibly can and to work with it. So I always thought that this was really cool. I'd love to go see it again as an adult and really appreciate it a lot more. But yes, I have been here and it is really, really neat. All right, so Petra Jordan. Half built and half carved, Petra Jordan is known as the Rose Red City, half as old as time. The startling red rocks were carved to create Petra, which is the center of an Arab kingdom through the Hellenistic and Roman eras. The city dates back to thousands of years, yet it was around 300 years BC that it began to flourish thanks to the spice trade. For centuries later, the Roman Empire spread into the region, claiming this vital capital, and its fortune continued. Today, having been lost to the world for centuries, Petra is a site that continues to wow visitors. That'd be cool to go see. Again, just ancient cities in general. I want to see them. I want to see what they were like. I love the idea of just seeing these places and how people lived and built things and everything. I'm fascinated by it. All right, so the next one, very popular, Stonehenge. We love Stonehenge in England, and I've also heard before that Stonehenge isn't really that interesting to visit. I don't remember quite where I've heard it, but I heard someone talk about how they didn't understand why people thought it was so interesting. I don't know. But Stonehenge. The complex and bewildering Stonehenge is perhaps the most sophisticated and remarkable piece of stone circle architecture in the prehistoric world. Although smaller than Avebury, Stonehenge provides a glimpse into the ceremonial process of Neolithic and Bronze Age societies. Yet Stonehenge remains a great mystery. They were used for over 2,000 years, but more than 3,500 years have passed since that date. Unanswered questions include how the massive stones were transported as much as 250 kilometers and erected with interlocking joints. Regardless, this unsolved mystery is a must-see. So yeah, again, I would love to go see that. That's cool. Just kind of that engineering, it's so fascinating to see how people got to that before there was the modern technology. All right, Tiwanaku in Bolivia. Dating back to before the Columbian era, Tiwanaku in Bolivia is an archaeological site that was the center of the ancient Tiwanaku Empire. This era lasted between 200 and 1000 AD, with Tiwanaku being both a spiritual and political epicenter of the broader lake Titicaca region. Sorry, I got distracted. At the heart of this site is the Acapana Pyramid, which boasts a rectangular interior known as Cala Sasea. Within the gateway of the sun, home to a number of carved stone figures. Beyond the pyramid is evidence of a civilization that used a raised field farming method that features canals and vast irrigation, something that continues to befuddle researchers today. I think that's kind of cool, because I didn't realize that's where that most people, the evidence of them using that. That's the type of irrigation and farming I do in Minecraft. Is like raised platform where you, not always raised platform, but you can do it on raised platform where you like create just an area and then you make sure water surrounds it so you don't have to like water it yourself. That's kind of cool. I like that. That's neat. That makes me want to play Minecraft and build a raised version of that. Maybe next time I play Minecraft, maybe I'll make a city in the mountains and build raised platform farms and all that. That'd be fun. All right, the ancient temples of Malta. Seeing the ancient temples of Malta is high on the list for those that arrive on the island. Yet these stunning megalithic temples continue to defy belief, all because we can't work out who constructed them. Built prior to 3000 BC, the temples are arguably the oldest standing on Earth. They predate the famous Stonehenge and pyramids of Egypt. Across Malta, there are dozens of these fascinating temples. The most popular of the temples are the Hakar Kim and Minardra? I don't know. However, the oldest of them is the Gigantia. Yep, don't know how to say that. Very sorry. But neat. We actually don't know who. That's so cool. I didn't know that existed. Like, we just don't know who built it. Cool. Alright, the Moai of Easter Island. I was about to say it's probably the Easter Island Heads. Often known as the Easter Island Heads of the Eastern Island Heads, the Moai of Easter Island are in fact complete bodies. You've seen the pictures, startling monoliths depicting important members of Rapa Nui society. However, these heads are in fact just the top of a 10-meter megalith. There are around 1,000 statues that can weigh as much as 86 tons. They were carved using tuff, a rock found in Rano Raruku, a local volcano. Constructed between 1400 and 1650 AD, the moais were made simply with handheld chisels known as toki. The mystery remains, however, as to how that transported these statues across the island's hilly terrain. Cool. Neat. They probably use carts. It's probably carts, honestly. It's carts. Okay, the pyramids of Meroe? I hope that's correct. And the third and last capital of the Kushite kingdom is in modern-day Sudan. More than 200 pyramids were constructed. Many remain standing today, sitting on the vast barren deserts as stunning ornaments to the past. The Kushite kingdom ruled over 3,000 years in the ancient lands of Nubia. These incredible pyramids offer inscribed stories that take you through an unheralded yet powerful and significant culture and kingdom. However, adding to the mystery, the Kushite script has yet to decipher with our knowledge of their history stemming from Roman skulls. Oh, has yet to be deciphered. I was like, that's a weird sentence. So yeah, again, just something we don't really know the answer to, and we probably never will. That's really cool. More ancient cities. I didn't realize there were this many ancient cities that were undiscovered, or not undiscovered, but not, like, that just were mysterious and we just don't know. Excuse me. The Plain of Jars in Laos. It's Laos. In central Laos, the Plain of Jars is a collection of over 2,000 megalithic stones shaped in the style of jars. They date back to the Iron Age and were used as part of local funerals. Like other great mysteries, it's impressive to wonder how an Iron Age culture could produce these enormous jars before moving them from the quarry to a beautiful and lush plateau. In addition to the jars, you can see historic grave markers, stone discs, which are believed to have covered the jars, plus in sprawling quarries. Alright, well that's kind of cool. High Iron Age culture. Huh, yeah. Probably a cart. It's just a cart. The Nazca lines, which is something I also know about. The spellbinding Nazca lines in Peru are one of the world's greatest mysteries. These are lines drawn in straight geometric patterns showcasing various animal shapes. Still unsolved, it remains a beautiful, head-scratching wonder. You can find the 2,000-year-old Nazca lines around 400 kilometers south of the nation's capital, Lima. They have been studied for over 80 years, with their creator known to be the ancient Nazca culture. There are over 1,100 lines in total, most straight, yet 300 are geometric. At its most lengthy, some lines are almost 50 kilometers long. How and why they remain a mystery, yet from the sky it harbors one of the most incredible views you'll ever experience. Yeah, I've heard of the Nazca lines before. I think that one's a rather popular kind of mystery. I don't know. I don't remember if I've heard theories. I seem to remember at some point them talking about, like, maybe it was some kind of guiding system, but then that didn't make sense because how are they up in the air? And then, of course, like, aliens is an explanation that some people like, but I don't know. It's very interesting. The Great Sphinx, which is also a really popular one. One of the world's most famous sites, the Great Sphinx in Egypt, has long been shrouded in mystery. It's part of the allure, bringing hundreds of thousands to the land of pharaohs every year. The Sphinx is a mythical creature that boasts the body of a lion and the head of a human, though thought to be Pharaoh Khafre. It faces west across the Giza Plateau, with the iconic pyramids settled in the background. The Great Sphinx is 20 meters high and older than any of the pyramids. Archaeologists believe that this structure dates beyond 2,500 BC, some 4,500 years into the past. Love Egypt, love a Sphinx. They're cool. Not much more to say about that, but it's a mystery we'll probably never know. I should know how to say this. Teotihuacan, Mexico? That's wrong, but it's fine. A short distance from the world's most populous cities is the ancient metropolis of Teotihuacan, Mexico. Now an expansive archaeological site, the remaining pyramids live to tell the tale of a culture 2,000 years old. Those that called the city, I'm not going to try to say it again, home were part of the world's biggest city at its height in the 1st century. They were around before the famous Aztecs and constructed multiple incredible pyramids. These structures are all that remain, yet they keep alive an ancient culture, its story, and religion. The Aztecs would embark on pilgrimages to visit what was known as the birthplace of the gods. That one's definitely one I hear a lot in ancient history classes, or I heard a lot in ancient history classes, or what else did we? Like Mexican, or not Mexican, I guess. Oh no, it is Mexico, okay. Like Mexican history classes and that sort of thing. So definitely really cool. Again, would love to go. I just love the idea of seeing these places and being able to really think about who lived here and why they did the things the way they did. Just the human mind is insane, and we'll think of a lot of crazy ways to do things. And you even get a sense of like why we do things the way we do, or how things evolved. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a fascinating thing to think about. I know I've said that a lot in this episode, but I really do think it's very interesting. So, okay, Göbekli Tepe in Turkey is our last one on this article, which I probably won't do the other article I had just because it didn't save very well, and we're almost at like 40 minutes here, and I think that's a good time for podcasts. So, okay, Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. Just minutes away from contrasting plateaus, the Göbekli Tepe is anything but standard. In southeast Turkey is one of the most remarkable modern archaeological discoveries. Here lies 11,000 years of history and enormous carved stones. At the heart of the discovery, it is the belief that this spectacular location is home to the world's oldest temple. Travelers will find petroglyphs across giant stone rings and T-shaped pillars that weigh up to 10 tons. Impressively, the megaliths predate the development of agriculture and even the most basic ancient tools. It showcases community that was far more advanced than any of its peers. To add to this notion, Göbekli Tepe is around 6,000 years older than Stonehenge. That's pretty cool. I love that. I definitely would love to see these places. I think they all sound really neat. And again, just like being able to stand in that area of just like where these ancient people lived, or marveling at this, the engineering of it all. And also just, I think some of these are really cool because like there are ones, like I mentioned, Stonehenge, the Nazca Lines, the, what was the other one? The Sphinx, that are all something that I feel like are very, like, they're mentioned a lot, not just in, like, history classes, but in, like, popular culture and everything. And then some of these I would have never heard of. Like I said, I'm just shocked there are so many ancient cities that we haven't really discovered, either who built them or what their purpose was or even how they functioned. And I didn't even know that, and that's really, really neat. So maybe I'll have to come back and do another episode on some of these and maybe talk about why they're not as well known or any of that. But I think for today, that's where we'll leave it. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and if you enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe and share it. It really helps me out. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Thank you for listening to I'm Already Looking It Up. If you're enjoying the podcast, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, you can go to my Patreon at patreon.com/wildforestproductions. Don't forget to check out all the social links below. Thank you!